message today, our Sunday school lesson is assurance of victory over death. And let me see. Someone like to read verses. Let's see. I'd like to read verses 17 to 19.
I get it.
Go ahead.
Then when Jesus came, he found that he had lain in the grave 4 days already. Now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs off. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother.
Okay. One of the first things I want to note here is, okay, when Jesus has arrived, it's been 4 days. Some think that Jesus did that on purpose. For 4 days was on purpose. It's been said that the spirit of a person who's dead would hang around. This is what they believed, that they would hang around the body for 3 days. And so this is the 4th day. There's no more spirit. That's not what so this guy is completely, okay, all hope was given up by then that he would come, I don't know if you ever,
Yes.
even sitting in there and you're watching him the whole time the service is going on. Is he going to flip a finger going to move? I don't know. Tell me you haven't thought that once. I have. I don't know. But before, see, they didn't embalm. They didn't take the fluids out or anything like that. And there's different things that happen to a body, and it would do certain things just by natural occurrences in the body. Different things would happen. Maybe set up or something like that, or it would. But we do a bombing to prevent a lot of that kind of stuff from happening. They do things, and that's and so it's pretty much our practice is that you pretty much consider the guy as a person is not going to come back to life. He's not in a coma or anything like that. This was perhaps this delay, we don't know. But we know it was planned. Because when Jesus heard about it, what did he do? He stuck around 2 more days. It was a planned delay. When that person was even sent out, that person, Lazarus, is already pretty much gone. They before even before before they even got to Jesus, Lazarus was already probably dead. The way I read in the story, because of the time of death and how many days he's been in the. So pretty much, it's almost as soon as the word went out, the person probably passed away. I don't think there was any way that they could have thought that Jesus, unless he was next door, that he could have made it in time. And we'll look at some of those responses. I think that's what we'll see in here, is that they didn't blame him for waiting. Not really. It sounds like it says, well, if you would have been here, but and we'll get into that. But the 4 days may have been planned for a particular thing. Maybe it was for the thought that 3 days they figured that it may have been this. And I don't think it was a teaching. I think it was just an understanding that they figured that a body would stick around for 3 days. After 3 days, there's never any hope. But 3 days could happen 3 days later. I think this is maybe just something that happens. You know, people who have passed away or seemingly have passed away, revived maybe. And I don't know how those things come about, but I would think that maybe the occurrences that, well, we thought he was dead, but he came back to life, type of thing. But 3 days, but this was 4 days, and so any thought of that this would have happened was pretty well squashed by the having it. Okay, 4 days has passed. Okay, he's dead.
I think this is God's planning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might not have had it wrote down in scripture and wait just this, but he wanted the disciples to know for sure that this gentleman had passed away.
Right.
There was no doubt in their minds. So.
Right. Okay. Okay, we also know that in verse 18 it talks about it being 15 furlongs off from Jerusalem. Bethany is 15 furlongs off from Jerusalem. The distance is a couple miles. It's just a couple miles away. When it's thought that since there's a good friendship here, that the fact that Jesus had probably spent a lot of time at the home here in Bethany, and it's convenient, close to Jerusalem. It was probably a good place. It was probably a good place for them, which is another reason. Being so close to Jerusalem was another reason why they were afraid. Some of the disciples were afraid to go back to Bethany because that was so close to. Well, this guy's they're threatening to kill Jesus, and so it may not be a good place to. We want to stay away from there as far as possible. But here they came. Okay. In verse 7, the fact that they were close to Jerusalem, many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them and concerning their brother. So they were people of good standing in the Jewish community, and they had a lot of people coming out and supporting them, the sisters. Okay. Who'd like to read 20 to 25? I'm sorry, I'll make that. I want to read 20 to 27. Who would like to read verses 20 to 27? Okay, George.
Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Jesus said unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. Martha saith unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live.
Okay. Read 26 and 27 too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believeth thou this? she saith unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world.
All right. As soon as Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him. And Mary stayed in the house, and I don't know why, whether they both heard or what, but Martha comes out. She says to Jesus, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. And like I said, it's probably more likely that Jesus wouldn't have been able to get there before he passed away anyhow, because I think the message got sent out too late. So I think that was because of the fact that he was dead for 4 days, and they only delayed 2 days, and so pretty much as soon as that messenger went out, he passed away. And so, but regardless of that, she believed that if he was there, she would have taken. There's no. I think what she is expressing is the fact that I know that if you were here, it would have been taken care of. You weren't here. Well, he passed away. But I know that you could have done it. I don't think there was, why didn't you come? Why did you wait so long? We gave you plenty of time. It wasn't the kind of response accusing of Jesus. It was a kind of a response that to me, it sounded like that. If you could have made it, I know you could have made a difference. I think it was her belief in God and in Jesus that he could have made a difference in this situation. And but I think what we find here is that she didn't know if that. I don't think she realized that he was talking about raising him from the dead even now. She said, I know that's part of the plan, and that's what we've been taught, but I don't, now? I think that would have been I think that's the kind of the response that I'm seeing here. It's not that she didn't believe it, it's just that she didn't think that Jesus was going to do that now, because this is not the type of thing you would do. Kind of interesting the conversation that Jesus is having with her, and we're when we try to comfort someone, go to a funeral or something like that. Sometimes we are just blessed with the biggest shoe in our mouth that you can possibly have. You know, you say just the wrong thing sometimes, but here Jesus is thy brother shall rise. She meets the people Jesus meets the people where they're at, and is sensitive to what they need. She was talking about the resurrection, and Jesus interact with her on the subject of the resurrection. So, you know, says Martha said, as soon as she heard of Jesus, it says, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever. Now that's a great statement. But I know that even now, whatsoever wilt ask of God, God will give it to thee. That's a pretty strong statement. As part of, I mean, yeah, she was always busy. She was the servant, she was the sister that busy fixing things and stuff like that, and cleaning and preparing all the food for everybody. But she also has a lot of faith here, because she says, "I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee." And Jesus said unto her, "Thy brother shall rise again." Now, did Martha understand that? I don't think she did. I don't think she. I think that was just, your brother rise again. Well, yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to that day, but not today. I don't think that's going to happen today. I think it's a little bit like Peter's faith. When he says, "Okay, call me to go out in the water with you, and I'll walk on. Call me to walk on the water with you." And he gets out of the boat and he does it. But then he realizes all the things around him, and it gets a little. I'm wondering if that may be the same type of expression that Martha may be having. I don't know. But it's just interesting that when Jesus said, "Thy brother shall rise again," Martha said unto him, "I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day." And Jesus said unto her, "I am the resurrection." And Jesus just flatly says to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this?" And she said unto him, "Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of the God, which should come into the world." And she, a couple of things here. Jesus saying, "I am." This is one of the I ams. I am the resurrection. Jesus is talking about I am being the resurrection. And he's identifying himself as being who God. And just like he says in John chapter 3, "Whosoever believeth in me shall not perish but have everlasting life." John 3:16. It's basically the same thing here, is that he that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever believeth and believeth in me shall never die. Believeth thou this? And she says, "Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world." This is similar to what Peter said. "Thou art the Christ." And who? And it was said there, Peter, that the Holy Spirit conveyed that to Peter, that he was the Christ. He didn't come up with it on their own, and here Martha is claiming the same thing, that Christ is the Son of God, that thou art the Christ. She recognizing that he is God, that God would answer, do whatever you would say. But here, Martha, we have two sisters here, okay? This is Martha's response, and this is Martha's. This is how Martha deals with it. And Jesus is meeting her on her level. And we're going to look here in the next verses here, the way that Mary comes to Jesus. Some people are good for conversation, and some aren't. And we see here the difference in the two sisters here. In verse 28 it says, and when she had said, and when she had so said, she went her way and called Mary, her sisters, secretly, saying, the master is come and calleth for thee. We don't know. I mean, we don't see that we don't see Jesus' words saying that, but and it's not likely that Martha made this up, but we don't have all the words sometimes spoken here, and so as soon as she heard that, she rose quickly and came unto him, and Jesus was not yet come into town, but was in the place where Martha had met him. The Jews then, which were with her in the house, and comfort her, and when they saw Mary, that she rose hastily, and went out, they followed her, saying, she goeth into the grave to weep there. And then when Mary was come to Jesus, where Jesus was, and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, Lord, if thou had been here, my brother had not died. Again, she is stating the fact that that she would that she believed that that Jesus had power, but she fell at Jesus' feet. Martha was in a conversational type of thing, and Jesus met her in that particular place. But here, Mary, she's the one that washed Jesus' feet with her hair. She's always wanted to be, and she sat at Jesus' feet when he taught. And and that's when the two sisters kind of got a little tissy about each other. She's not doing anything. She's not helping. She's at Jesus' feet, and Jesus says, "Okay, Martha, she's doing what's better. I'm here," and she's drawing this all in. She was the type that fell at Jesus' feet, and that's the type of person she was. And Jesus met her at her place. In her place, it's just a difference between two people. You have two different. You have one death, but you have two different. You can have different types of conversations. Some people just need the arm around them. Some people can want to talk about all the good things, and you've got to be open to what, who you're talking to and what their needs are. And that's how Jesus approached death. He met the people at where they were and gave them comfort. Is there anything that you guys want to find in these passages? But again, here Jesus states plainly that I am the resurrection. And, we can say a lot of things. Okay, you say you're the resurrection. That's one thing. But then to actually prove it That's, you know, Jesus taught a lot of things about who he was, but he also backed it up through miracles, to showing that he had the power over sickness. He had the power over things, you know, bread and fish. He can multiply them, change reality, what we see, and feed us all through that. And we all eat enough that not just to get a taste of it. Did you all get a taste of that? No, they all got a fill of that. This is what's left over. Jesus went and calmed the sea and the winds, and so that obeys him. And Jesus demonstrated through different things that he had the power. Now he's saying, I am the resurrection and life. We got a person who's a friend who's died here, and I know that they know that I can fix them, but I can also raise them from the dead here. And if he can raise Lazarus from the dead, and if he can rise from the dead, and then we have the hope. We live here and we come here on Sundays, particularly on Sundays, as that's when our Lord raised from the dead on the first day of the week. Jesus rose from the dead. And we come here on Sunday because we celebrate that resurrection. It used to be called Resurrection Day. You know, so going to be there on Resurrection Day. And so that's what Sundays were about, is the fact that we meet to celebrate Jesus' resurrection. Because he lives, then I can live. I have that hope. And I can share that with others that have that hope. And with that, if there's no other comments, I'll turn it over to the Sunday school report.
The minutes of the Clinton Falls Community Church Sunday School for February 20th,